So, this is real. Honestly speaking, I didn't really expect to make a real video about leaks this soon. Though don't worry, still, Furtherlands is totally gonna be removed from the game, like I mentioned in the April 1st video. But totally, yes. Anyways, yet again, by the source that wished to remain anonymous, I've been given some rather interesting information about the, well, upcoming things and things that have been perhaps scrapped. But regardless, here goes. Mind you, most of today's information has been found in game files thanks to the new version of Elite Dangerous, the Odyssey Alpha Phase 1. Now, let's then start with the thing that we perhaps remember from the last time I did a Leaky video. And it's the Titan Thargoid / Titan Cloud or something along those lines. My informant gives a little bit more insight as to what the Titan Thargoid or the Cloud could actually be. According to a couple of code snippets that I've been shown, the Cloud itself will be an unidentified signal source like most other non-human signal sources or just simply signal sources. As the name implies and the code snippet that was shared with me, it seems that the Cloud itself will be basically a Cloud instance that simply spawns multiples of Thargoid interceptors, basically the big Thargoid murder flowers. Now, while the Titan Thargoid Cloud could be just simply a cloud rather than a new Thargoid type, I mean, I'd like to think that the Titan is still something bigger. However, the time will only show. But what is certain is that there will be a new instance and a new type of environment to fight in against the Thargoids. So you AXI guys, get ready! And mind you, from the last Leaky video, there were references found in the game's files about new internal modules for our ships in order to deal with the Cloud, and this one interesting thing called Thargoid Mine. So who knows, it might actually be quite something interesting coming relatively soon. Next up is something that we already know that will be basically coming to Odyssey as is, and that is engineering for weapons and suits, and basically what type of upgrades we can expect from this long list. From the looks of it, it's very simplistic upgrades, unlike the engineering when it first was released for the ships, but who knows, maybe this is just a simple way to sort of describe basics of it. So yeah, we'll just wait and see. And obviously a specific name, humanoid, is being placed in the whole string, so it's kind of weird that they chose to go with it, which also implies that there will be non-humanoid, so we'll see whether or not that comes to fruition, but however, for now, none have been found yet. And now let's return a little bit back to the unidentified signal sources and a rather interesting new addition to it called Uss Convoy Agri-Plague. This particular unidentified signal source would be a sort of a new event, just like any other unidentified signal source is. However, for now, all that it would do is just spawn in a couple of convoy vehicles with Guardian Tablet in their cargo holds and nothing else, transporting them somewhere. So methinks maybe stories afoot, finally. Then, of course, in the game files, you can still find some images or items about the Panther Clipper. Basically, this is still unchanged from what I gathered from my source from basically way back in the day. So, if you haven't seen it, there you go. That's the Panther Clipper, or at least as much as has been developed for it. And now, for the thing that everyone came to watch this video about. The new SRV is here! Now, my source claims that it is possible to spawn this thing in some way that is basically far beyond my capability or understanding that, I'm not a hacksaw type of person. So anyways, point is that they also point out there are two guns on this thing, not just one. The normal turret that the SRV comes with and the missile rack. So that's quite interesting. Also, it's called a Scorpion. Also, it's interesting that my source claims that these are completely fresh additions ever since they put out the Alpha Phase 1 for Odyssey, which kinda goes contrary to what Frontier Development's presentation has been for Odyssey in general. I kinda distinctly remember that they did mention no new SRVs, at least for the launch of the Odyssey itself, which makes you question, well, what the hell is this then? Oh, but this is not all. In fact, my source managed to find a few more. And as it happens, there are 4 total SRVs being listed under something. So number one, our typical SRV that we know and so dearly love is called Default Buggy. However, the reference to obviously SRV Scorpion 01 is found, which already you can see the picture of. However, the other two that were found were SRV Mark II config and MEV Rhino. On top of it, my source says that especially with the Rhino, whenever you try to spawn it, it just crashes and doesn't do much. So, frankly speaking, I am rather curious as to whether or not we actually will be getting a new SRV or not, cause hey, like it or not, I don't know, personally, for me, the Scorpion looks pretty neat, and the fact that it has two guns also is pretty cool. And better yet, there's video 2! You can already tell that it's a very work in progress, or testing, or prototype, or something. It's basically not finished. And driving with it apparently is horrendously hard, as you can now pretty much see yourselves. So whether or not these are something that are basically a leftover from the whatever version they were testing or whatnot else is beyond my ability to say. However, I invite developers to actually come and just talk with us about these things, because at least I find it rather interesting to see and hear about these things that perhaps might have not made the cut for the game itself. It's interesting to sometimes think of what could have been and why it wasn't placed in the game. Oh, and also my source tells me that this is a 3-man vehicle without any cargo, so I'm just wondering if that's true. But for now, that's about it. If you do have some interesting information you want to share with me, of course, feel free to contact me through email or some other way you can find me. And as always, I can guarantee anonymity, of course. But that aside, these kinds of videos wouldn't be possible without the great patrons, so if you do want to come and support the content I make, do check out the links for the Patreon down below. As for now, I'll go sniff some more leaks. Oh yes.